Hey everybody, this is John. Welcome to Beast Feast. One of the things I like to do is make knives. I got started kind of by accident, but it's developed over the last 7 years or so, and it's something that I'm not like Gary Dozier or any of the really high quality knife makers in the area, but I do a pretty good job. I do a decent job, and I like to share that information with people. I'd really love to share that with, and when I say share, I mean bring people out to my shop and have them make a knife, have them, go through the mental process of designing the knife, selecting a piece of steel, doing some forging, and some stock removal, whatever it takes to get that blade the way you want it. Selecting the handle, shaping the handle, going through all the heat treating of the metal, and the normalizing and the tempering. And the biggest bonus is not just, I really love when a fellow I know or have just met comes out and will go through a couple of classes and make a knife. But what really gets my heart stirred up is when a father and a son can come out and make a knife or two knives. And then they get to leave at the end of that period with a nice knife that they've made together, and they form some memories. And it's more than that. When you make a knife, you can draw an awful lot of parallels and correlations with what God does with us. From the moment we're saved, we begin a process of justification, sanctification. I hate to throw out those church kind of words, but there's no better word for it. We have the old nature and we have the new nature, and we have to crucify the flesh. That's just the way it is. We have to. And so you take this raw piece of steel. I don't have any raw steel, but this is just a blade I've been working on. This one's really close to being done. All I have to do is put this one in a handle. It's already sharpened. I've started the polishing. But when you take a raw piece of steel, I wish I had one here handy, and you start forming it. Hang on. It might be as ugly as this. And this is naturally, you wouldn't need all of this unless you're making a really big knife, but it would end up being out of proportion. Anyways, that's not the point. You take something like this, bar stock. This is high carbon spring steel, and make something that resembles this. It's a heck of a thing. Got wood. This is some burl, and there's a neat story behind when I got this burl. Make handles out of. There's a little bit of jatoba, just to make some handles out of. We made custom leather sheaths to go with them. But it's a really, really neat process because, like I said, you're starting with something rough. And you're starting with fire and a kiln or a forge. It's not really a kiln. And you're going to heat this up to a yellow hot, and you're going to hammer on it. And you're going to see the metal move. You're going to make it curve or make it straight. You're going to thin it out because this is pretty thick. Here's a pencil for perspective. You're going to make that, the thickness that you want. You're going to sharpen one edge, leave the other edge unsharp unless you want to make a dagger. You're either going to make a drop point or a Bowie knife or like a Green River or an Arkansas toothpick, or any combination, whatever your imagination can conjure up and you can get to come out of the steel between the way you handle a hammer And you're going to see that process come out of a piece of steel. And if you've been a Christian very long, depending on how mature you are and how much you're able to keep yourself on the altar, because the thing with live sacrifices is we tend to crawl off the altar. But we are living sacrifices, right, guys? So we keep putting ourselves back on the altar. We keep taking up that cross. We keep crucifying ourselves daily. And we submit to being heated, to being hammered on, to being filed and ground on. And then we're tempered. We're quenched. And then we're kind of normalized. And then, once we're, got a handle on and stuff like that, and got a real sharp edge on, then we can be of use. We can be servants to other people in the kingdom of God. We can be prayer warriors. We can be leaders. Any number of things, but we can't be. This won't cut anything. You can whack somebody in the head with it, but it's not going to cut anything. You can't use it as a chisel. This is a store-bought chisel. See the edge on that? It's got some wax on it, but that's sharp. You can do something with that. This won't chisel anything. It won't scrape anything. It's just a chunk of steel. But what I like to do is take people and then go through the process of making a knife and drawing parallels with our Christian life. And hope that you'll ask me some questions about what it takes to do that, and we can get that done.